that maybe don't do these?
Kind of. I kind of said some things, but at the same time, he gets a lot of his fouls off of trying to take a charge. So I can't really give him advice on something he doesn't do. He doesn't do those types of things. He tries to take charges and he usually gets one or two bad ones where it's either a block or it's just not a good call for him.
Marcus, to what extent do you feel like the story of your senior year still hasn't been written yet with the games ahead, and does senior night play a role in sort of the beginning of that, the way that went?
Well, yeah, I think your senior year is, I mean, we still have all the important stuff left. So obviously the regular season is coming to an end tomorrow with a chance for us to be champs. So that's one huge part. Senior night was a big part because I knew how emotional it would be for us three, especially, and all that. So that was kind of the beginning, like you said. But you know, I guess all that other stuff doesn't matter until, you know, these next couple weeks. So this is when the important stuff starts, and this is when you know, you can completely change how your year is remembered, I guess.
Coach, this gets for both of you guys. Coach talked about how he cares more about getting the championship than just winning a game in Cameron. But you guys haven't won there yet in your career. What would it mean to you to pick up a win in that building?
Yeah, I agree with Coach. It wouldn't matter where we were playing or who we were playing against. If you told us we had one game to be ACC champs, then, you know, obviously then that would be the biggest game for us in our careers since we haven't won anything like that. So the fact that it is in Cameron and we haven't won there just, you know, elevates that even further. But like I said, this week could be playing, you know, anybody anywhere in the country in the same stakes. We would just be super excited for the opportunity.
There's so much freelance or motion offense that each team maybe has a play or two that's kind of their bread and butter. Is it nice to have that safety blanket and the idea that you can run it better than somebody else can defend it, even if they've scouted it pretty well? You just have the repetition.
Yeah, I mean, every team has that, you know, one or two go-to comfort plays. For Duke, it'd be isolating Grayson Allen or Brendan Ingram on the wing, and, you know, putting their shooters around them. You know, for us, it's, you know, we have a bunch of different plays that run Brice into the block, or he can get to his jump hook, or we can get a two-man game going. So, and then we also have our, you know, freelance offense, which is unpredictable. You know, there's no set motion to what we're doing a lot of times. So to have that wrinkle in our offense is always something we're confident in.
Do you think having the championship, and that's sort of been your goal all season, and that's what you guys are looking at right now, do you think it kind of diffuses maybe the payback or the rivalry or the you know, just going in there and getting a win? Do you think that it helps kind of make that go away because you're focused on the big picture?
I don't know. I don't think so. It's hard to forget about what happened, you know, last time we played against them. So I think that aspect is definitely still there. But you also realize that it's not just a single game matchup against a team that beats you. It's bigger than that for our team especially. I don't know, Brice, you can add to that if you want.
I mean, I definitely agree with him on that, but at the same time, you do think about the payback because, I mean, we could have played a little bit better, but at the same time, we really thought we'd win that game here. And I mean, with the championship on the line for us, I mean, the stakes are a little higher. So I mean, it's a lot more emphasis on this game than you would think for a normal Duke and North Carolina game, just because of that.
You guys both mentioned payback, but how much does it gnaw at you about the way, not that so much that you lost, but the way you guys handled that last minute and a half, couple minutes?
It definitely bugs us from time to time, just because the way that they just kind of did the same thing over and over again, and they ended up either getting a foul or they got a bucket at the end of the game, and then also with the fact that Marshall Plumlee played the last 14 minutes of the game with 4 fouls, and we didn't get him out of the game. So I mean, that's also another thing that really, I mean, it's been bugging me, and I'm quite sure it's been bugging Marcus and the rest of the team, because I mean, we wanted to do better, but they ended up, they didn't want us to score the last 15 minutes of the game, especially myself, and I mean, they got the win.
I mean, I agree. He said he hit it pretty much on the head.
Do you guys talk about what happened last time among yourselves, or how does it come up, or is it the kind of thing that doesn't need to be mentioned, or what is the approach with handling it?
We talked about it some this week. We haven't had time to worry about it up until, you know, this week leading up to the game, because we played a pretty good Miami team, you know, a couple days later, so we didn't have time to sit around and sulk about how, you know, we gave them the game and stuff. But now that we've had a week to prepare after the Syracuse game, that's definitely come back up. We've seen it on film, you know, we've talked about it, we've emphasized things in practice. So it's been it's been a point of discussion in the locker room, and now we're just, we also realize there's nothing we can do about the home Carolina Duke game. That's in the past, can't go back and change it, we can't go get Marshall Plumlee's fifth foul or anything like that, so, well, we can change a lot about how we play tomorrow, so that's what we've been thinking about.
Brice, what is the key to, what are kind of the things that you play against Marshall for now a couple of years, and obviously that last game was a pretty good matchup and you played well. What's kind of the keys to going up against him? Because he has to be on the floor for so long, can you take advantage of that? Do you have to play differently? I'm curious as to how that works.
Well, you just have to know that, they're not really looking for him, and ultimately, he's just going to be a screener on the offensive end. And defensively, you just try to get him up in the air and give him a couple pump fakes and just try and get him in foul trouble. He's a good defender. It's just, I just got to play within my strengths and not allow him to get me out of my own game.
All right, for a guy like him that is basically their main viable big man, have you noticed on film at all that he does a good job of avoiding fouls? Have you noticed him being able to do that effectively or not? I'm curious.
Yeah, he does do a pretty good job of avoiding fouls, especially after when Emil got hurt. He did a good job of sometimes he let one go because he knows that he doesn't need to be on the bench because his team really needs him. So, and then his teammates also do a good job of helping him out on the defensive end too, especially in our game. With him guarding me, they kind of doubled me at the end of the game where they had Grayson coming, so they wouldn't be able to give me the ball. So it's not just him; it's his entire team just trying to. They know his importance to the team, and they really try to help him out.
For both you guys, is there a sense since the last weekend you guys have elevated your player team-wise, and how close do you think y'all are to reaching your potential?
I think we've gotten better. We didn't play the way we wanted to against Virginia. We were still, within a possession. It was a one-possession game down the stretch. And then after watching the film, we realized we really didn't play well at all. We never got into a good defensive rhythm. And we still had a chance to beat them on their home floor, which no one's done. So we were, there was some positives to take away about that game. And then obviously we played well against Miami. And senior night is just one of those weird nights that you just got to find a way to win because there's a lot of emotions going on and all that stuff. But I think we're getting there as a team, and I think tomorrow will say a lot about how far we've come this season. If we play great, then that would be like a turning point. And I expect us to play great. So I think we're getting there.
We said he didn't really believe there was a formula for coaches to get a team to peak. They just didn't really believe in that. As a player, can you kind of feel if the team is building or struggling, or is it more just a game-to-game that we make a bigger picture analysis out of that stuff?
Yeah, I think it's like you have a tendency to want to look at a cluster of games, say this team's peaking and stuff, but when you're in it, it gets so hard. You're just so focused from game to game on trying to correct things you did poorly one game to the next, which might be completely different than what you did well last week or something like that. So we kind of just go game to game about it. It's different if you run off like 10 or 12 wins in a row, then it's easy to tell like this team's hitting their stride. But in our league, that's just not really, it doesn't happen. So it's hard to tell, how well you're playing when you're playing against elite competition all the time. You might think you play well and then lose a game, and then, not play great against a team that's inferior to you and win a game. So it's kind of hard to tell. So that's why we look at it game to game.
Could you tell last year in the postseason, because you guys were playing your best ball, it seemed like, in both the ACC tournament and the NCAAs?
Yeah, that's an example of where it's easy to tell because the level of play elevated so much that it was like, this is a completely different team that was playing in the regular season. We had a string of great games in the ACC tournament. Just kind of ran out of gas, playing that fourth game in a row. And then we had a pretty good NCAA showing up until the last, 6 or 7 minutes of the Wisconsin game. So, if that type of jump happens for us, then I'll be very happy. But I expect us to just continue to play a little bit better and better each game.
Earlier this week, Coach said there's like a certain level of luck it takes to beat a team that shoots like Duke does. Playing off of that, is there anything you guys do, this is kind of more of a relaxed question, is there anything you guys do before the games as far as like a pregame ritual? Does anybody have anything out there that they're doing before these types of games?
I'll share my secrets.
I don't really do anything crazy before games. I kind of just sit there. It's kind of just think about a game, but then at the same time, I kind of just try to not think about it, just try to clear my head, and then right before tip, and I just refocus my brain and just be ready to play. I can't speak for my other teammates. They probably have a ritual they do, probably take a nap or something. And just for myself, I just try not to think about it too much.
Yeah, I don't share my secrets. Sorry. No, I really don't have any. I'm not real superstitious or anything like that. I don't have a set pregame ritual that I do, so that's why.
Can both of you just talk about this, that atmosphere, what you think it will be like tomorrow with, with the title on the line for you?
It's definitely going to be electric in there. I mean, they've been camping out for quite a while now that I've seen, and I mean it's a lot of stakes at hand for this game, just for us and probably for them too. Just trying to be able to get into maybe the top 4 of the league and be able to get that double bye, I think. So there's definitely a lot on the line during this game, and just the fact that they beat us here, it feels it's going to be pretty good for us.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to a game in Cameron that I wasn't playing in, so I don't know how if it changes much for them from game to game. But I know in Carolina home games there's an electricity that's not in any other game. So I imagine it's the same way at Duke, where it's just an elevated level of intensity, and the floor will be shaking and everything, and that's what makes it fun going over there to play. So I'm sure they're fired up. Obviously, we'll be fired up for all those reasons we just talked about.
Marcus, when you came back from your injury, we spoke, and you said there were some nerves going into that first game. It was the first game for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys anticipate the emotions and the nerves going into this game? We saw how emotional you got at senior night, so what do you guys anticipate it's going to be like tomorrow?
I'm actually not super nervous about tomorrow. I'm kind of at peace of mind right now. I'm just really excited to play. But yeah, when I first came back, I was so nervous because our team was playing well and stuff. And I didn't want to be the guy that messes it up, and I just wanted to come back and be myself again. And I did that, so I felt good. But tomorrow, I think we'll be on edge. I think we'll be hyped. We haven't really had a game of this magnitude where a chance to win something important is on the line, other than the ACC tournament championship last year. So it's been a year since we've played in a game of serious consequence. I guess not because of the NCAA tournament, but you know what I'm talking about, where like the single game determines whether or not you're a champion or not. So it'll be exciting. I'm ready to just play, stop talking about it and play.
Our last one, they gotta go.
Hey Brice, what will give you occasion to know that Duke students are actually camping out over there?
Come on, man. You should already know that. I don't have to answer that question for you. You already know the answer.
I got you.
Thank you, guys.